and welcome everybody to this week's installment of the Hustlers Huddle. Happy to have you guys here with us yet again. To my left, as always, is
Chris Whitwell, aka Mr. Crooked Teeth.
Oh, hey, always with something, right? The guy has to have a nickname every single time. PJ, what do you think about this week's nickname, man?
I like it.
I'm following up to the Princeton burn from last week. You know what I mean?
Hey, if you guys
roasted.
he did.
I got roasted.
He got a little luau. It was pretty good.
I got luau. Yeah, it was straight up. It was nice.
Hey, so you guys heard PJ? Who do we got over here, PJ?
Oh, today we got a.
No, who are you? Introduce yourself.
He's gonna be like.
But I appreciate you trying to go ahead, man.
DJ Toms, the producer of The Hustlers Huddle, and you can reach us at thehustlershuddle@gmail.com, and soon, under construction, thehustlershuddle.com.
Absolutely,
Finally,
yeah.
I like it.
And check us out also Instagram at The Hustlers Huddle. Really anywhere you guys check The Hustlers Huddle, we'll be there. So without further ado, I want to jump in. We've got some incredible guests with us tonight. We've got a really, really good show lined up for y'all. Excited about a couple of new things that we're going to try out. So we'll check that out. We'll see what you guys think about it. But to my right, I have with me Mr. Eli Plainer. Eli, how are you today?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man.
Good,
We really
man.
appreciate you
Happy
coming
to be
by.
here.
Happy to have you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man. I'm excited.
You're kind of looking over your shoulder like someone's gonna sneak up on you. Like, hey, I'm happy to. It's cool. The camera's got you. Show them the shirt real quick though, because it's gonna lead right into. There it is, Cryofit. So tell us about Cryofit. What is that, and what's your relationship to it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So firefighter, paramedic. Probably about 3 years ago, I started out doing IVs for a Cryofit franchise in Leon Springs, and started freezing. Started doing the compression boots. I was just doing all their IVs and stuff. And
Well, now let the people know when you say doing their IVs, we're not talking from a paramedic firefighter standpoint. No. We're talking what kind of IVs?
Straight up, just health and wellness.
Because that's a trend that's taken off a lot right now, right? Like I've seen these zones popping up. You're telling me the Cryofit does all of it, the IVs and other forms of the therapy as well.
Yep, for sure. So anything from athletes to if you're hungover to you got.
Unfortunately, that's the one I'm familiar with.
I can speak to it honestly. Like honestly, guys, like back when I was on patrol, man, I oftentimes would get a little drunk and have to go on shift the next day, and I'd roll over to the fire department and be like, "Bro, can you run some saline through me real quick?"
That's where we step in, man.
Bounce right back. So
yeah, so it's not like being at a hospital or nobody's coming to us because they're hurt or they have to. They're coming to us because they want to. So it's mainly vitamins, amino acids, stuff like that. So it's fun. So yeah, I was doing that for a couple years for them, and I was like, man, I got all this medical knowledge, super into athletes, super into sports, health and wellness, kind of anti-aging. Why don't I just do this myself? So that's kind of how I started the franchise. We've been open since April of 2019.
That's awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
One of the cool things about his business, he talks about the anti-aging. He's actually 55.
I don't know if you guys are seeing this.
No, it's actually 56, but
birthdays happen.
Yeah.
So guys, that's incredible, man. Hey, at first I thought Chris was joking. I was like, wait a second. That's phenomenal, man. So do you? I'm assuming you utilize Cryofit yourself
all the time.
Is that kind of how you got into it, other than obviously working with them?
Yeah. So when you work there, they let you do all the services for free, and so I just started freezing. I'm like, damn, this shit works.
I've heard a lot about it on some of the talk radio shows that I listen to.
Yeah.
There's a show, Jason Ellis. They talk about it quite a bit. He rolls around. He does a lot of the UFC stuff, and he says that cryo,
for sure,
the freezing is it regenerates them. Or I don't know. So you tell us, what does it do?
So a lot of advocates for it, like you mentioned, Ben Greenfield, Joe Rogan. Tons of athletes.
Shout out to Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan, we love you.
Joe Rogan. But yeah, essentially, you're pretty much just putting your body into like a fight or flight mode. So we're actually shrinking your temperature from about 90.5 into the low 60s. Just sit in that brain response to kind of vasoconstrict your body, shunt all the blood to your core, reducing inflammation, tons of energy from it. You burn like 500 to 800 calories per session over the next 3 to 4 hours. So it's really for anybody.
How long is the session?
About 3 minutes.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So 3
1
minutes.
to 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. A lot better than an ice bath. You don't have to bring 80 pounds of ice into a bathtub, lug that around, hop in, 3 minutes, hop out.
So how do you guys like introduce people to this? I'm assuming they don't go straight to the cold. I mean, that 3 minutes, you probably got to build up to that, or
Some people, but we always have a technician in there at all times. That's a requirement. So we have somebody in there and they talk you through it. So most people are like, "Holy shit, it's been 3 minutes already. Damn, that was quick." So honestly, nobody even really notices.
So
That's awesome.
The contraption that they're in kind of
Yeah.
reminded me. We have the opposite, like in boxing when you're cutting weight,
Yeah.
like this
Oh, right.
box that
Right.
you just your head sticking out and it goes up to like 150 degrees or whatnot. Is it somewhat similar to that?
In a sense, we want your head exposed just because it's liquid nitrogen, and that's a suppressant. So we don't want you in there breathing it in.
We
That
see
makes
what
sense.
happened to
Yeah.
like T1000 with that.
Right? No, it's. I mean, people get freaked out, but I'm like, dude, our atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, so you got nothing to be scared about. You just got to make sure you got the right people doing it.
Right.
Well, that's awesome too that you have the background. I mean, you guys can
Yeah.
see the picture, right? Firefighter, paramedic. You're not just coming at it from a standpoint of like, hey,
No.
I read this pamphlet. I think it's good.
No.
You've got that medical background to really be
Yeah.
able to validate your assumptions on
For
it.
sure. Our founders spent a long time. They've been doing this for about 8 years. They actually met with the Russians that brought cryo chambers to America. They went all the way to Poland, met with dudes that brought it to America as well. So they've done a lot of shit to
Yeah.
make sure that it's legit.
I feel like the Russians probably know a thing or two
Right,
about,
about the
cold
cold.
therapy. About being out there in Siberia, bro,
Yeah,
just
man.
freezing. That's freaking awesome, man. So, all right. So I got to ask, right? So we oftentimes talk about, and people come in here, and one of the recurring things that I think leads up to any kind of hustler, right, is the why.
Yeah.
So you started out as a firefighter.
Uh-huh.
What got you into that? What was the why to go down that path?
Yeah, see, I didn't even really start in that. Like, I dropped out of high school when I was
Okay.
about 17. I just wanted to work. So I started doing construction. I was painting houses for a long time in Utah, actually. And then I moved here to Texas for my baby mama. And shout out to her. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah,
He's
definitely
like,
shout out to her.
He's like, no shouts out to
Oh,
her.
no, yeah, okay, my bad.
No shouts are given.
No.
I read that incorrectly.
No, she's a good lady. And honestly, I was just living paycheck to paycheck. And I didn't even know how to go to school, honestly. So I literally got on the internet and was like, how to go to college. The first place that comes up, San Antonio College. So I cruise in there, meet with the counselors, and they're like, well, I mean, what do you want to do? I'm like, I have no idea, honestly. So they're like, well, I mean, it looks like you're staying in pretty good shape. Why don't you try being a firefighter? I was like, yeah, I could do that. And so I went to fire academy, went to EMT school. After that, got my first job, started being an EMT for a long time. Then I went and did my bachelor's degree in science.
So let's back up just a moment because I feel
Yeah,
like
man.
you skipped over a very crucial thing. You dropped out of high school. You
Yeah.
don't just go into the fire academy with.
No,
So you went back
dropped
and got
out,
your GED.
got my
or did-
GED.
Okay.
I'm
How
a
was that
GED with a
experience?
master's. No big deal.
That
Yeah.
and honestly, like I have a couple friends that
That-
went the GED route.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear what he just said though? I mean, because this is huge, right? You're
Yeah.
a GED with a master's.
Yep.
No big deal.
No
right?
big deal. No big deal.
Like,
It's funny, man.
I was thinking the same thing when you mentioned. I was hey, I wanted to hear your story because it was
Yeah.
compelling. But the first thing I thought was exactly what Chris said, right? Like, you're the 17-year-old kid, you drop out of high school, and then you literally Google
Yep.
how to go to college.
100%.
Like, is there a more like young American approach to that than really literally pulling yourself up by the
No.
bootstraps and saying, hey, I'm going to Google how to go to college, and then I'll just get my master's along the
Yeah.
way.
From 17 to a master's degree in a business and a respectable career.
For sure.
That's the definition of a hustler right there.
So carry on, man. So
Yeah.
tell us more about this.
Yeah, so did that, and then I started teaching at UT Health Science Center here in San Antonio. And actually, I started doing that because I was working full time, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. on an ambulance, and then I'd go to school 8 to 5 full time. And my instructors were like, "Hey, dude, you're literally the only student that's ever done this. So would you want to teach with us after you're done?" I was like,
Wow.
"Yeah, man, I'll do that."
You're operating on 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I did that. Dude, there's no way I could do that now. But I was in my 20s, and
That's
I
incredible.
wanted it so bad, I really did. And so I started teaching there for a long time. Actually, I still teach there. I do all the paramedic classes and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. We didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's that's
Mhm.
huge. That's hey, just I don't know if you guys have heard of this school up the road, UT Health Science Center. Just this
Yeah.
place.
That's cool. So
It's like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so we got Matt
Matt
McConaughey in here today.
right?
All right.
All right. Yeah, exactly. So, sorry, man. Go on. That's
no,
awesome,
man.
dude.
Yeah. So I've done that for a long time, since 2010,
Okay.
2011. then I went and got my master's, did that at UT Rio Grande. Then I became a critical care paramedic. Then I started doing flight medicine. So I was actually on life flight for a while. And yeah, and now I'm just doing firefighting full time and then my business. So I kind of put a little bit of that stuff on the back burner. I'm focusing on this.
So I was going to ask the question on the firefighting side of things, but I do know that I can probably answer it now. You're not on the box anymore. You're done with the box,
No,
right?
done
Your
with the
engine.
box. Yeah, I'm not like opposed to being on it, but
Whoa.
Sorry.
So
The
the
box-
non-firefighters that are listening,
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought we were
Yes.
getting inboxes to freeze. Are we not? Wait, I'm confused now. So
I've actually had somebody like pissed off that we call it a box because they're like, "Hey, man, isn't that kind of like a little bit brash for people?" I'm like, I don't know, man. That's just what they call it.
It's what do you want us to call it? The
Yeah.
cube?
Yeah,
So what is it? So what?
so it's just an ambulance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Oh, that
Meaning
makes
back
sense.
to
All right, cool. The box.
ambulance, yeah.
Whatever. It's
But-
description.
Yeah. No, I'm not opposed to being on the box. But where I work now, fire and EMS is separate. So we just first respond. And so essentially, like, we do our job, do our assessment, medics come, they load them up, and then we go home. And so, man, I've done it for so long. You'll never see everything that everything's different always.
Right.
But I've seen so much stuff. I'm just like, nah, man. I mean,
I was just going to say, so not to get too into it, whatever you can elaborate.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, I'm sure you've got stories for days.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen a couple just one-off things that leave me like, man, what did I just see?
Yeah.
How do you, as an individual, as a person, how do you handle that kind of responsibility, that kind of thing on the day-to-day? I mean, obviously, mentally, you're extremely tough to be able to do what you did in your upbringing to get to where you're at. But how do you compartmentalize that, or how do you deal with that?
I get that question. I kind of tell people like, I don't really. It's not that I don't care, so I don't want to really say I don't care. But it's just like when I painted houses, it's a job. I got a job to do. I want to be the best at my job. I want it to look great. I want to do awesome. I want people to be happy. But it's not my emergency. It's not really my problem. So hopefully I can just make the situation better. That's kind of how I look at it. And that's it.
To elaborate a little bit on that, it's like you go into this work mode where you pull yourself out of it to get the job done,
For sure.
but you never revisit it. You just
I was just
keep
gonna say,
moving on.
Yeah.
You know, to some people listening, that like you said, hey, I don't want to sound like heartless or I don't care, but like, at the end of the day, like we kind of want that, right? Like you want a professional there in that moment. You want somebody that
100%.
is not attached to your emergency. You don't want some guy freaking out because he's got emotions about it.
I always
You
say
need that professionalism.
Yeah. You see me freaking out and there's a problem. You know what I mean?
I want to see that.
Yeah. And that's just how it is. It's like, man.
Just picture him in full gear, like the house is burning down. Oh shit, guys, the house is burning down.
What's one of the hairiest situations you think you've
I
seen?
knew
Yeah,
that was
that's a good
coming.
share.
I knew that
It's
was
like
coming.
where you actually like you help somebody out, like pin in the neck, like kind of situation. You know what I'm talking about, right?
So,
Man.
and let me
Trying to
save
think.
you if you don't want to answer this, because that's the number one question first responders and military, I think, get.
Yeah.
What's the craziest
Yeah,
thing
yeah, of
you've
course.
ever seen? Because people are
Did you video it?
People are really curious about it, but a lot of the stuff that we experience, they don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So we always find the coolest thing and tell them that. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't
That
want to
makes
hear
sense,
about the infant that died in my arms or, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Nothing's really like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Coolest stuff to me is when a patient will reach out to us afterwards and, hey, I'm looking for the person that helped save my life.
Man,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we meet with those people and it's just kind of seeing them like, holy shit, this is a person. Like they went through so much to get back to where they're at now, and I can actually talk with them, see what they're all about.
That's awesome.
I think that's kind of
that's got to be fantastic.
the best thing to me.
How
mean,
many life-saving awards do you have?
I don't know, honestly.
Stacking them up.
Yeah, I'm not big on that, man. I'm not big on numbers. I'm not big on awards. I just want to be good at my job,
Awesome.
Well, I think earlier you said you want to be the best at your job.
Yeah,
And it
for
sounds
sure.
like that.
I'm super passionate about it. So that's why I'm like, don't get it twisted. Just because I say like I don't care at that time, I'm very passionate.
No.
about it,
I think you're spot on. I think the way you explained it, it makes total sense. Like we need a professional in that moment. I don't need some guy to
Absolutely.
like sit there and talk to me and tell me like, yo, I need you to work on me, man. Make it happen, whatever.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, it sounds to me, and I don't want to come to a conclusion or extrapolate on your behalf, but
Yeah.
it sounds like that why really within you isn't so much a affecting other people. Like, you obviously love it. It means a
Yeah.
lot to you, but it sounds like that why is really your own internal drive to be the best at whatever it is you're doing. Or
Yeah, it's that.
how
It's
am I
my
reading that?
family. Yeah, I got a 8-year-old girl, 13-year-old boy.
It's awesome.
And then my significant other, Chelsea, she's got my back through everything. And so
Shout out
important.
Chelsea.
shout out Chelsea. Appreciate it. So
That was enthusiasm.
I'm telling you, man. Dude, when I was in Fire Academy, this chick is making every one of my meals every single day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I mean, it was ridiculous. So she's got my back.
Take me through Fire Academy. What's that? How long is it? What's it like?
Sucks. It's all worth it though. It sucks in a good way. It's like embrace the suck. I'm not in the military, so I can't say like, oh, it's just like boot camp or anything like that.
Well, the embrace the suck is that's a SEAL motto, right? I've heard
Yeah, I
that
think
before.
it's military.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's got to be military.
Makes sense. Yeah.
For me, it sucked just because when you got a family and you're old as shit, going into the fire academy, it's totally different. So when you get into a big city fire department, it's kind of crazy because it doesn't matter what credentials you have. So like when I started working for a bigger city, I'd already been doing this for a decade, already got a degree in this. I've already been on a helicopter. So I've already kind of reached the pinnacle
Of what that role
what I'm
entails.
doing.
Yeah.
And then you get into a big city and they literally don't care. And so you're starting from scratch in their fire academy. So they don't want to hear shit you got to say. They don't care if you got experience. It's just shut your mouth and you're going to do what we say.
I feel like you more have a target on your back because
100%.
they don't give a shit about what you say. But if you mess up, they're like, you should know this already.
100%. So for me, it sucked because
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Perspective on that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I was 33 when I started. I'd been at other fire departments before. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2007. But when you're in this career, you really want to work for a big city for, the call volume, the benefits, and just, primarily for those reasons. So I started at 33. I'm literally the oldest dude in there, and I live in New Braunfels. I got a family, and so my day would start at about 3 a.m. Get up, get all my stuff ready, go to the academy. We're on the lines at 6 a.m. We go till about 6 p.m. Get home. We got 3,000 pages worth of material to study over, and you got to do all that. And so I'm trying to study, trying to stay awake, and you're just doing that Monday through Friday. And ours was a little bit shortened because we were pre-certified, so we did that for 18 weeks. So it was rough, but it was worth it.
I like that he used the term 18 weeks as shortened. Okay.
I think it's like, I don't think people give enough credit to our public servants.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Most people
first responders in general.
Responders in general, they broad paint or broad brush, whatever the hell that saying is.
Yeah.
They paint them with their broad, whatever. And now I got derailed. Damn it.
You're good.
But anyway, they just think, oh, they couldn't have done anything else in life, so now they're doing this. But it's the exact opposite. There's so much that goes into learning the paramedic side
100%.
and the firefighting side, and it's extremely intensive academically, not just physically.
Yeah, it's constant training. Like a lot of people think we just chill at the station when we don't have a call, and that's like furthest thing from the truth. We're always doing stuff, whether it's training, going to somebody's house to put a smoke detector in, inspections, hydrants. I mean, we're on it.
What's the equivalent on a medical side in terms of your medical knowledge? I'm thinking so you guys are on the scene. I mean,
they're a rolling doctor, man.
I was going to say that. I don't want to, any insult to doctors, but I feel like you guys, you're doing basically a doctor's job under extreme circumstances, right?
So I think skill-wise, absolutely, especially when you get on a helicopter, because your protocols kind of get super advanced. So
I would imagine so.
We're doing chest tubes. We're doing pericardiocentesis. That's pretty much when you're sticking a needle into somebody's sac of their heart and withdrawing blood if they had like blunt force trauma, something like that.
I hate when I have that. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, we paralyze people, sedate them. I mean,
wait, you paralyze people? What would be the
so essentially like if you had a patient who lost their airway, say they had suffered a traumatic injury, right? They're barely breathing. Well, they're still conscious, right? So they still have a gag reflex. Well, we got to kind of take over their body for them. So after you get after you get venous access, you take over the airway, supply them with oxygen, and then you're going to be pushing a paralytic, so you're literally paralyzing their body. Then you sedate them, and essentially now you're passing a tube through their vocal cords so you can breathe for them.
While,
so you're kind of taking
you're on
over,
a helicopter,
yeah,
by the way.
Yeah. So you kind of take over their body for them. So you do what they should be doing normally, but they can't.
You're controlling their motor skills and functions for them at that
Controlling their
particular
breathing,
time.
controlling their blood pressure, controlling everything.
That's unreal, man. I saw a thing, this is years ago. This is at the height of, I think, like the Iraq, Afghanistan conflict, but it was about the medical, the combat medics.
Yeah.
And how these guys are like,
badass.
They are doctors. They roll in
Yes.
in a helicopter into an active war zone. And these are the dudes that are saving, Marine recon guys, Navy SEAL dudes. Like the baddest of the bad are getting saved by these dudes. I mean, that's essentially
Rescue PJs. Shout out to they're actually called PJs.
Yeah,
right?
they are. You're right.
Jumpers. Shout out to the Air Force.
Yeah, that's right, dude.
They're legit.
Shout out to all our first responders out there.
For sure.
Fire,
Shout out.
everybody, man.
I feel like this is a really timely. No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I feel like this is a timely. We didn't plan it this way, but every year we go over 9/11 and we kind of everybody puts up the obligatory like, yo, first responders. Chris and I were at a SAFC game the other night where it was first responders night, and that's awesome, and we do. But man, like, you guys are 24/7. You're not. It's not a day. It's not a hey, this is our September 11th. This is our. I hate to even talk about it. I was talking about it a while back, and I mean, it brings me chills, man. I'm sure, obviously, you're familiar with Scott Deem.
Yep.
One of the, I don't want to use the term cool, but one of the realest things I ever saw, I didn't know what was going on, was driving into work. This is about, a year ago, year and a half?
Yeah, it's been about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
So I was driving into work, and everybody's pulling off of 281.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what's going on, right? And there's people lining the side of 281. And these engines, fire engines, backing up with the ladders, and they're hoisting American flags, dropping down. And here comes Scott Dean, from his funeral service at, I think it was at the Alamo Dome, up to his place of burial, and the entire city shut down and got off the road. And
that's crazy.
I didn't talk to one single person that was like, man, F that, I was late for, literally everybody was pulled off the side of the road. Like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's terrible that had to occur to draw everybody together.
Yeah.
But it's rare that we get a sense of community like that around what I feel like happened that morning.
Yeah.
So to me, that was pretty special, man. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
Man, so not to Debbie Downer, sorry, but
I mean, drink now.
No, but I think it's important that we recognize our military, our first responders. This isn't a day for them, right? Like it's a way of life. That's your hustle, man. Like you're out there doing this.
I think for me too, it's the families too, because a lot of people that kind of goes to the wayside, and
you're right.
I'm telling you, man, families that are living that life, it's the hardest thing because your significant other, I mean, they're gone a third of the time. You don't sleep with them, then like Chelsea, she's always worried, like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen,
Of course, how could you not be?
So I always give a shout out to their families. I can't even imagine military families being deployed. That's crazy.
Not only deployment, we talk about it. I'm in sales, man.
Yeah.
I come home some days and I don't want to talk to people because I'm tired.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you were on a helicopter that night, putting a chest tube through somebody that just experiences incredible trauma? Like, I feel like you probably would, at your home, you probably want a little me time. You probably want a little, which is a difficult balance as well, right? So to your point, even furthermore, shout out to that support system, that family, man.
100%.
Super possible. Hey, so let's shift gears into something a little more, hobby-ish, something that we were talking a little bit about Cryofit earlier.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you saw the benefits. You mentioned, hey, I was working there. It was a no-brainer for me. Wanted to start my own franchise.
Yeah.
You made this decision, I guess, prior to April because you just launched in April. But what's been going on since, man? How's it rolling? How's your experience?
It's good, man.
In different hats, so to speak.
It's totally different. I've always had leadership roles and stuff like that, but being an owner and the stress of, oh shit, I got to pay bills every single month. Like that's stressful. You know what I mean?
It's a different kind of stress, right?
So it's totally different because, it's like, if this doesn't work out, like I had Chelsea leave her job to do this with us. So it's straight up just us. So we're learning how to do, marketing, learning how to do payroll, all of it. And it's tough, but it's worth it 100%.
So one of the things that I liked about franchises is a lot of that is kind of built in with it, right? Like, so as opposed to going it completely alone, when you purchase a franchise, you kind of have a roadmap, a plan. Have you found that to be true? I mean, obviously there's still a lot of solo entrepreneurship activity, but
So like for me, I've always considered business, obviously, and never really considered franchises just because I didn't want to really be a number. I'm not like into that. I'm more personal.
sure.
And I worked with Jeff and Cheryl. They started the franchise, and this other dude, Brian, and they're just as real as it gets. Super humble, super cool. They're very
Shout out Jeff and
passionate.
Cheryl and Brian.
Yeah, they're very passionate about what they do, and so that's kind of why I, elected to go with them because, how often can you have a franchise and literally text your franchise owners and just be like, "Hey, I got an issue with this," and they hit you up right away.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I mean, that was something that was attractive in terms of our own personal decisions. I think something that you hit on too that is noteworthy is the fact that, again, right, not to beat a dead horse with this networking thing, but you kind of got into it because you knew the right people, right? Like these individuals, Jeff and Sharon or Cheryl? Cheryl had an impact on you as such that they were able to literally leave that kind of thought in your mind where you're like, hey, I want to be able to do this. You changed your position on franchises and everything because of those individuals.
Yeah, totally. It was their passion for it, the way they treated their customers. And you see stuff behind the scenes, it's like people put on these faces when you come into their store, but it's the stuff that goes on afterwards. It's like, you don't hear them talk trash about their customers.
Right.
They're genuinely concerned about how they feel and they want them to improve. They reach out to them. Hey, how have you been doing? How's your family doing? It's
with
stuff
the follow
like that.
up and the small things that they put on that personal experience to really make it make not only the customers but the team recognize what they're doing to take it to that next level.
So that's kind of where I bought in. So
since we're talking about franchises, I was in a debate the other day, and I'm just curious to get a little roundtable opinion.
That surprises me that you would be in a debate with anybody, Whitwell. You're the most agreeable person I've ever met.
I'm highly agreeable with everything. But of course, the topic was with franchises in particular. Do you perceive them as MLMs, multi-level marketing, or not? And the debate was just that. What's your opinion?
I'm kind of split on it. So I've actually heard that debate, and I think to a certain extent it is right because you're buying into a proven system, and I use the term proven on some of these multi-level marketing programs loosely, right? But you're buying into a system that you, for whatever reason, believe in. Where I think it varies, and where I think there's a clear distinction, and it can get a little bit muddy, right? Is I'm not going to my friends and asking them to build teams to then help further my business. Right. Like we're here selling a service, a product, something that yes, we are plugging into, for lack of a better term, let's just call it a widget, McDonald's, whatever, right? I'm selling a hamburger. I'm not going to my friends and saying, hey man, if you sell 10 hamburgers and you get 10 people to sell 10 hamburgers, we about to be McDonald's out here.
But I mean, to argue that point, somebody sold it to them. And they're making money off every person that they sell to.
No. So in that sense, you are correct. But that's not multi-level. That's not multi-level.
They got bosses too.
You know what I mean?
The buck stops right there. Like for them, it's just them three. The cool thing about us as well is we dictate our own prices.
Right.
So that's pretty legit. A lot of franchise. It's strict. If I pitch new ideas, they're always open to listening to me. So it's not like, hey, this is the way it's going to be, and that's it. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think you're exactly right. Like, I think that is the distinction, right? Like, to your point, it is a system. But it's not a multi-level system. You've got your franchisee and your franchisor. There's a very specific set of disclosure documents that everybody agrees to and signs upon, and then you move forward with that purchase. But no, I've heard it. It's a fair conversation for sure.
Absolutely. PJ, what are your thoughts on that? You're over there. Hey, buddy. What's going on?
Where you been my whole life, PJ?
I'm wondering what services you offer.
Yeah.
What do you guys do?
All sorts of stuff, man. Any IVs, injections, compression therapy, infrared sauna, cryotherapy. I do a couple different things. I do full body analysis just because I know how to do people's diets pretty well.
So you get into the nutritional aspect of it as well?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Do keto blood monitoring for people that are on keto diets because that's a big thing right now. I have a massage therapist that comes every Tuesday. Do full stretches for athletes.
Thanks, so we missed it.
Right. So it's
guess what, guys? She's on the way.
Product review coming next week.
So yeah, man,
Or
we
he
do a little
could be
bit of
he.
everything, and I'm always trying to add stuff. You know, my goal is just people to literally leave the store like, damn, I feel way better.
Hey, so you asked us earlier, right? And
Yeah.
I'll put it back on you. So what is you talking about goals? What is your long-term goal with this? I mean, where do you see yourself? What's the vision for Cryofit and for Eli?
For Cryofit, essentially, like I said, it's just kind of become a household name. Just have that reputation of they're the best. They truly care. And yeah, I want to do it forever.
That's awesome.
So you check that box. What's next for you?
Shoot, I'm always looking into stuff, man.
Yeah?
My brain never stops.
So what's something interesting? Maybe not even Cryofit or Firefighter related. Something that's on your radar these days that you've been looking at. Or...
I started trying to do real estate. I rented out my house, and I suck at that.
I love
dude,
the honesty.
I'm serious. Dude, this guy pays me late every single month, and it drives me nuts.
You need like a mafia or
but I didn't want to.
hey,
I didn't want to manage it
manager,
myself.
one of the two.
You know, and it turned out I'm like, dude,
Renter at
this is a
Eli's
nightmare,
place. If
you
you're
know?
listening, man, this is a real pay point for you.
Yeah.
Come on, get it going.
Do you see how big this guy is? Why are you not paying him? Jeez.
No, don't make him come to your house. We'll send Dario with him too.
Bill collectors.
You'll meet him.
yeah. Sorry, I teased
Eli,
something.
what do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? What's your outlet?
Man, that's a
Other than work, because
whole.
it seems like you use that.
I was
as
just
your
gonna say, is
outlet.
there time
No, there's
for hobbies?
no.
He's like
I always
saving
got time,
lives.
man. I always got time. I'm always doing something different. Right now, I'm training for it's called the Taco Loco Run. It's a 62-mile race. Doing that October 26th. So I've been training for that real hard.
How do you start training for a
Run.
62-mile race? Copious amounts?
No, I had this dude that's done a lot of that stuff, and he introduced me into this like heart rate training. And so essentially, he's like, "Man, you're running too hard. Your heart's going too fast. You're producing."
I've heard of this. So like you literally
Yes.
use it by your biometrics
Yep.
is how you determine your pace.
Yeah.
That's the bra that athletes are wearing and stuff now.
I
too.
haven't seen
think
that. There's
It
a bra.
is,
Yeah,
dude.
that's
I'm
straight up
rocking
bra.
the bra all the time,
I
man.
haven't seen that. That's
You wearing it right
awesome.
now?
No,
You getting
I'm
the
not-
lift right
I'm
now?
not wearing it right now. But you can find me wearing the bra on a
So I don't
daily.
know if you saw, was it episode 5 with Scott Milgram?
I believe so.
I believe it's episode
6'5",
5.
yeah.
Check this guy out, Scott Milgram. He decided one day at a Super Bowl party
Yeah.
that I don't know, he wasn't enjoying himself, whatever. Went and grabbed the Huffy bike in the garage of his boy's
Okay.
house.
And then
Rode
rode
it.
across country.
No, dude, just
And
rode
then
it like
swam across the
Yeah.
world.
Forrest Gump style. You know, he was like, I
Yeah.
just rode all night that night. I don't know what happened.
That's like a Dan Bilzerian, right?
Yeah.
He rode from like Vegas to California.
That
I'm
dude
like,
is my
"What's wrong with this dude?"
hero.
I
Said
don't
like
know about hero, bro. That's a little no shit.
No, if you don't say that you do not want a similar lifestyle, you're a liar.
Well, I'm not saying I don't want
For how
some
long?
lifestyle.
Though?
That's
How long do you want that
exactly.
lifestyle for?
Yeah, that's
You
a
know?
lot to keep up with, bro. I can barely give
The
from,
dude's had 2 heart attacks, man.
I
Come
mean,
on.
Is
but
he really?
when you have the constant supply of HGH, you're good to go. Don't worry about it.
I
Yeah?
guess, right?
Hey, that's what Rogan says. I like it. No, man. But so, anyways, he started competing and trained and finished the Ironman.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So that's just me. I'm always like, man,
Where's this run at? Oh, are
It's
you
like,
pulling it up? DJ? Was that it? Sorry.
It's San Antonio. It's off the Medina River. I guess it's at some like a ranch. Something
100K,
like that.
50K, 20. I'm like, I'll do the 5K.
Well, here's the thing: is when you finish, if you finish, you get a belt buckle that's a taco tray, and they actually put a taco in the tray when you cross the
That's
finish line.
awesome.
And so I was
Do I
like,
get that for the 5K?
All right, dude, let's do it.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
We got to get a picture of that. You got to
Yeah,
send us
we
a
need-
picture.
oh,
give
yeah.
us
We will
a
need an
shout.
update
We'll
on
put
that
it
for
up.
sure.
I got to finish first, man.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, we ain't raising no
You
quitters.
finish. That's exactly
Mama
right.
ain't raised no quitters. I don't know why I decided to be mama, but mama ain't raised no
Right.
quitters.
Bro.
Hey, so if you want to warm up, speaking of 5K.
Oh, yeah, dude, great
shout
call out.
out to the Mortgage Months. There's the Snipsa race
Mortgage Mutts.
coming out this Saturday, 8 a.m. Snipsa is a local animal rescue.
Do the
Like
Snipsa
it.
one, PJ.
Snipsa.org.
Yeah. So Mortgage Months is Chris's team
Okay.
with Kristen, some other coworkers. I'm running on it.
Yep.
We've got a whole deal. Real good, real good benefit. You know,
Let's do it.
Yeah, San Antonio, as you know, has a lot of strays out there. So
Yeah.
these guys
Oh,
go
yeah.
around and provide cool services. It's at the Alamo Heights Pool next
Okay.
Saturday morning. So if you guys want to get out,
I used to work there. I know right where that is.
Oh yeah.
If
Not
you're
at the
free, man,
pool.
you run around Alamo Heights, and it's the only time nobody calls the cops on you
Right.
for it. So
Yeah.
come on out for it, bro. If you got time, 8 a.m. We'd love to see you. If you want to join, just hit the race button. There'll be a drop down to join the Mortgage Mutts team, and
That's
come
cool,
on out, man. PJ, not to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot. Have you signed up? Are you gonna make it?
I'm not sure. We're
Bum,
looking
bum,
at
bum,
it.
bum.
We're looking
Yeah, he's not
We're
going.
moving some things around. Right now.
So should I just tell all these homeless dogs to die now because you
Right.
don't want to come?
I love how PJ said
Absolutely not.
we're looking
Okay.
at some options. We're gonna move some things around.
He's like, well, I got the cat 5K that I'm thinking about going to instead.
Got a couple events lined up. We're looking at things.
We do have we got a busy weekend, so we're out here trying to hustle, man.
You
how we
know?
do. So what else you got going on, man? What Eli? So we talked a little bit about fun. Obviously, we've covered
Yeah.
Cryofit. By the way, guys, when people want to find you, how do they get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with Cryofit?
Well, we're off TPC Parkway in Bulverde Road.
Cool.
So it's right across the street from Johnson High School.
Oh yeah, nice.
We're open 7 days a week. Social media, we're cryofit.tpc.
.tpc, important distinction there.
On Facebook, we're Cryofit Space SA. They wouldn't let us do TPC for some reason, so we had to do it like that.
All those
Okay.
gang signs or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly.
you know?
Probably means like Tri-Park
The
Killers. I don't know.
Yeah.
That doesn't start
Killers
with
of
C.
the
I don't know.
Sea.
Sorry, my bad.
This is
It's
what
late.
it is.
It's late.
Right?
No, but no, that's so we'll also obviously have all of the information linked to our
Yeah.
stuff. Is there anything we kind of briefly talked about the Mortgage Much stuff, but since we're here, I mean,
Yeah.
is there anything near and dear to your heart that something that you'd like us to pay attention to, or something that maybe we could partner with and help out and get our listeners aware of?
I'm trying to think right now. I don't got much going on right now in regards to that. We just did the 9/11,
Yeah.
tower climb and stuff like that. So
You
I'm
do
real big on
the
that.
full gear. You did the whole.
I didn't do it myself. I was actually working that day, but
Okay.
I always shout them out because
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
it's
But,
hard.
That's
I
crazy,
did.
man.
I've done it once.
His police uniform.
Yep,
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
it.
that's legit.
I
In full
did
gear.
it too,
I like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
But that's nothing. Look, the belt and the vest is nothing compared to the air tank and the full.
Yeah, but either
grab.
way, dude, hiking those stairs got to be a bitch. you know?
Regardless, and
Whenever I was done, I had a sore hip. Poor me. These
Right.
other guys are like, threw it at an oxygen tank, man.
dude, literally, and not to harken back and continue to get on that point, but that is nothing compared to what you all do on a day-to-day basis in your all's daily
Yeah,
job.
especially
So I
in
mean,
the
I think
summer,
that's
it
the big
sucks,
picture. You what?
Hot
I said, especially in the
fire,
summer,
yeah.
it sucks.
God, hey, not to veer off too off course. It is on course. I saw this new technology
Then
for I don't know. I just thought I'd say it. Augmented reality
Okay.
through the smoke in the masks. Have
Yeah,
you seen that?
we've seen that, but if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me on this, but I think that's like overseas still, like in Europe and stuff. So it hasn't really touched base here, but I think that's pretty cool.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I saw. I think it was a YouTube clip or something. So it essentially it gives you a cartoon visual, if you will, or it looks kind of like cartoonish on your screen inside the mask. So you can. It's not like infrared. It
Yeah.
literally creates an
It's kind of
augmented
like an
reality for
outline.
you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's an outline. So when you're in smoke and it's zero visibility,
So it's like sonar. So it's literally sonar using augmented reality for like somebody in the.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
more floor
Well,
plan based,
it's
right?
kind of like a.
no,
You guys
no,
know
can
what
see it
thermal
live
imaging
with
cameras
people
are?
and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like those, but built into your mask.
Hey, see if you can
very
pull it up real
similar.
quick. Just augmented reality fire mask. It
Wow.
was actually pretty neat.
While he looks that up, I will veer off course. Have you
Yeah.
ever done or thought about doing something like Guns and Hoses?
Actually, I know a few guys that do that. I actually know the guy that started it, Jason Prado.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was up in DFWs where
Yeah, he
found
started
it,
the San
and then it came
Antonio
down here.
one.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to fight, man. And
So the reason I
feel like
pitched
I just
this-
get my ass whooped.
Well,
you know?
the reason I pitched this, I was really big with it up there.
Yeah.
I used to be a USA boxing coach.
Okay.
So if you ever want to do it, man, I'll
Dude.
give you some free lessons. You go beat
I
up
would
your
got
love
the
to do
physique,
some
bro. You
lessons,
got
man.
I don't know. That's a lot of oxygen he's got to use to fuel his muscles.
For sure,
man.
I would love to do something like that, but that's being real, man. I don't know how to fight.
Dude,
Just don't
well,
get hit.
it's like
Right.
any other skill. Like you practice, you
Yeah.
learn, you get better.
For
It's anything.
sure.
Really, I was even listening. I think it might
One
have been
San
Rogan.
Francisco
Oh,
company is
oh,
creating new
okay. Check
technologies
this
that
out.
can help firefighters save lives. Quake Technologies has developed a way for firefighters to see in smoke-filled, zero-visibility environments. KPIX 5's Evan Feely shows us how augmented reality works.
Drone.
Drone.
You gotta have a drone.
Dude, they're so big now.
That can see through the smoke and haze of even the most intense flames. Menlo Park has added a powerful weapon to its firefighting arsenal: drones.
In many fire situations, there's a lot of smoke, a lot of things that are hard to see through. So infrared cameras come by. We've been using those in the fire service, handheld infrared cameras, for a long time. Now they started mounting these infrared cameras on these drones.
The drones are equipped with 2 cameras sitting side by side. The pilot can switch between the 2.
Man, so for those of you guys that can't see, I mean, it's literally creating a augmented reality.
Buried beneath the rubble.
So yeah, we don't have to watch the whole video, PJ, but I wanted to make sure that we
That's cool, man.
showed
How
on
did
it.
you say that
It's
guy's
pretty cool. I
last
saw
name?
that. You what?
I was trying to figure out how to say that
I
guy's
don't
last
think
name.
that was the mask you're referring to. I think this is actually the mask you're referring to.
Let's see. I haven't seen this one.
So yeah, these are like some Germans or something.
Yeah.
Developed a system that allows firefighters to see in the dark and in the smoke.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's a hands-free system.
Yeah, it's like a
that
built-in tick.
helps them work more efficiently and in a safer way. There is a thermal camera that's connected to a transparent screens like this one, and that shows a thermal vision of the environment. It allows them to orient themselves very
Technology, man. The
Yo,
future
crazy.
is now.
You pause it. So here's what blows me away, and I think I might have touched on this. I don't remember, but when I was young, I was thinking, man, the Jetsons, that's what the future should be like, flying cars, living in the clouds, things like that. And as I grow older and older, I'm kind of let down that we don't have flying cars or treadmills that I don't have to walk.
How long do you think till when?
I don't know. But what blows me away is I never thought that I'd have a computer here
Right.
and here that's affordable for me to have too. You know what I mean? Or the internet at my accessibility with, like, remember dial-up?
Yeah. No,
I
dude,
never
yeah.
thought that I'd
Unfortunately,
be
I do.
way
All
beyond
the-
AOL
dial-up
chat.
on my
Remember that?
AOL.
Sex location.
So you
ASL.
you asked how long, right? And here's kind of the truthful answer to that question.
Now.
Well, really, when these 5G networks really proliferate and
Yeah.
you can get data connectivity on a farm in the middle of Iowa somewhere, right, at the 5G speeds,
Yeah.
then you can have a network that allows for automated driving, whether it's vehicles or it's cars. Until you have a network that can calculate and compute all of that in real time, you have no foundation to develop that system. So a lot of that we're seeing is going to be based on the proliferation of these 5G networks. I mean, literally, they call it the Internet of Things.
Mhm.
Once everything has the signal to get the internet, the future is going to accelerate
wild, man.
massive rapidly.
So the real question is how long until Skynet becomes aware?
Oh, it's already there, bro. I don't know if you've heard of a little company we refer to all the time, Google. I'm just kidding. Hey, so
Hey, no, but it's that Boston tech people that I'm worried about, the ones that are creating the robots.
man,
What
there's
is
all
it?
kinds
What
of
do they
people.
call the Boston? What
That
is
should
it?
be everybody's worst nightmare, man.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah, so
about? Where they beat it with a
there's
stick?
that one company who created a robot, right? Like they took all of Joe Rogan's footage.
Oh, I
and they
saw
based-
that.
Yeah, and they
Yes.
created a robot based off of his reality.
Yeah.
So that movie, Her, was
Yeah.
a lot like
Yeah.
that.
Very much,
where
yeah.
an operating system actually ends up becoming the companion of the actor, right? Joaquin Phoenix. And this is something that's actually being talked about because, now that we're coming in the age of like the baby boomers and things like that, there's going to be a lot of elderly people out there
Right.
who maybe don't have
Absolutely,
someone
man.
to look over them and stuff. And actually, they're talking about AI filling that position, filling that gap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna out myself. I'm a little bit of a nerd.
I don't want a
There's-
robot watching over me, man.
Bro,
No,
like
for sure.
there's this video game called Detroit Becoming Human that's about AI
Really?
figuring out their defect is they get emotion.
So
It's trippy. It's
not to put a damper on all of that. So I heard a really good conversation by the CEO of Angel Investors, right? So Angel Investors runs these algorithms and they connect investors with startups, right? That the algorithm says there's a good chance, possibility of success, right? So anyways, he was talking about AI and how everybody's like, oh, it's going to take over. Facebook made one, so-and-so made one. And he said, listen, guys, we don't understand how a human brain generates thought. Every single AI is
Incorrect.
simply based on data input, right? Well, yeah, I'm saying watch
no,
the talk.
because I got a story. But go ahead.
No, but so he says that, right? And so he says, so in order for AI to get to the point where it's developing its own thought, we're talking probably a century away. Like we don't understand how a human brain creates
Especially
its own
emotional
thought.
aspect.
Exactly. From the emotional aspect, from everything that all AI deals with is a series of inputs that we give it, data, and it makes decisions based on that.
So no BS, right? I got a friend who will remain nameless because he's probably going to be the richest guy in the world when he figures out.
No. Name him. Let's meet him.
I
Where's
can't
he
name
at?
him right now. I can't name him right now. Because I probably even shouldn't be talking about this. But he found an algorithm in the human brain that he thinks makes free thought happen. And his only holdup, because he's tested it, he did it for a anti-piracy company, and he ended up selling not selling it, but getting with Norton antivirus.
Yeah.
And said, it's untouchable. This thing can think for itself. I figured out the mathematical equation that makes us human beings.
So why are you asking me when Skynet's coming, bro? Why don't you ask your
right?
friend?
Well, what's scary is what happens is once he can get the patent, because he's not written the code down. He's what is it? Mild level of autism. What is that called?
Asperger's.
Yeah,
Asperger's.
he's on that range, right? So he sees things differently than we do. But he can't patent it because what the actual patent office is saying is, oh no, you can't patent anything organic. So they're agreeing with him. Your algorithm is right. That is what makes our brain tick. It's a mathematical equation that makes our brain tick. So he plugs it into this computer program, right? And he tests it. And they say, Norton puts up $1 million and says, any hacker that can get past us, either A, hacking or B, pirating this software, will pay you $1 million. Not only did it shut down every attacker, but it started to learn their patterns and attack them before they had a chance. And it shut them down before they even tried, based off of what it learned about people.
How do you
And they
know
cut
this
it off.
dude?
Huh?
How do you know this dude?
High school, man.
Oh my god.
He's on this other level.
That's crazy.
You know, what's crazy about that is like, people are smart, man. They're all around us. Like, it's just getting to know who those people are and where they're at.
I want to get him on, but we can't talk about that. So
Yeah, we'll do a remote with a remote with a green screen. Just
Because this guy, man,
yeah. He's like, voice alterator.
dude, when he talks about math, he's like, "Oh, math is easy. It's just a series of everything between 0 and 9, and it interconnects,
Some
and I
people
can
see
do
it
it
that way,
instantly."
man. That's awesome. Hey, so speaking of awesome, cool things.
Oh man, you gonna
Bro,
talk about me?
Come on, nah, we don't talk. Well, never mind. So I want to, if possible, I want to introduce something, or somebody rather, that's going to be joining us moving forward. So we've been really fortunate to be getting some good traction.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you guys all for your support. Everybody that follows us out there, continue to follow us, continue to like us.
Thanks so much.
And as such, we're trying to up our game, and we're trying to get to the next level. We want to introduce more content in terms of I think sports is a big area of opportunity for us.
Sure.
So
Love sports.
everybody does, right? And it's part of business.
I mean, everybody does, but I'm self-admittedly, I'm a fair weather fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can
This
say
guy.
my favorite team is Detroit Lions. If you-
That's my favorite team.
Oh yeah, is it?
Yeah, for sure,
Did we
man.
just become best friends?
We did, dude.
Damn,
Wow.
bro. That just happened here in San Antonio.
There's
The
no
Hustlers Hub.
Lions fans in San Antonio or
No
in Texas
shit.
in general.
Hey, my
man.
neighbor is a diehard
Talking
Detroit Lions
Herman
fan.
Moore, Barry Sanders.
Straight up, I got a signed Barry Sanders helmet at the house.
Hey,
like-
look at my
Look
man
at
over
this,
here
dude.
itching to get into the conversation.
I'm
But
ready, dude.
Well, you know,
Oh, yeah,
like
sorry.
the fair weatherness though. You asked me who they're playing, not this week but next. I couldn't tell you. That's how fair weather I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, and I think the point is like we're all out here running our own lives, right? Like we've got a lot of stuff going on. We like entertainment. We like diving into sports. I definitely love consuming sports. Like, you know, it's action.
tasty.
It's compete.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tasty.
absolutely. Right. I like how you stuck with that consumption.
I got
So
you.
the goal is to really be able to give you guys all of that combined into the show. So without further ado, I want to introduce Dario Davis.
Hey,
The man.
let's
Come
do
on
this.
over.
Let's get you in my seat real quick, and I'm gonna go beer us.
Oh, dude, Chris, you're a gentleman and scholar.
That's what I do.
I appreciate that.
Need a beer?
Dario, what's happening, man?
I'm good.
Hey,
Good evening, man.
Good to see you, bro.
How you doing?
Y'all need a cerveza?
Hey guys, so to my left, I have Dario Davis. Dario is joining us with a long and extensive career, not only in sports, but also in talk radio, most recently on Freedom 1160. He's also been a competitor on ESPN. Is it Rock the Mic, or what was the name of the contest?
Yeah, it was a little Rock the Mic, ESPN Rock the Mic contest. I was one of the finalists, and
You know, hey, I love how all of our guests are super
We're super humble.
Right?
Yeah, it's whatever.
You know, just save
Yeah.
lives every day. He's like, I don't know. Have you guys even heard of ESPN? Who is that? I don't know.
I mean,
Is that-
it's the 4-letter network.
Yeah,
Just leave it
okay.
at that. Yeah.
So apparently we
No.
got different. Hey, everybody's got a perspective, right?
Hey, it's true. But it was a good time, and I just kind of fell into it. It was a few years back when I moved back to San Antonio after the Marine Corps, and I've always listened to sports talk radio.
Shout
no
out
matter-
Marine Corps.
no matter where I was. And then I'm up the street having some lunch, and they had an open casting call. I said, hey, let me go chop it up about sports for a little bit. And I had no social media at the time, but the suits there said, "Hey, you really have a talent for this. You have an interesting backstory, such a so on and so forth." And they said, start some social media. It's a necessary deal if you want to pursue this. And it was pretty much all uphill or downhill, whatever your perspective is, whatever. And it was good. I got called back and called back and called back, and I lost on a coin toss.
You're kidding me?
No, I lost on a coin toss. 5 suits voted for me. The other 5 voted for the gentleman that got first place, and he's still good. He's still rocking the mic. But that was kind of my evolution into being behind the microphone. This is 4 years ago.
Right now, though.
I was just going to say, yeah, you're right. The better mic, the Hustlers Huddle mic.
Hustlers Huddle. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Hey, so Dario's going to be joining us pretty regularly, consistently. I definitely want to ask you about your experience with that dynamic of the up and downs of what it's like in that contest. But before we touch on that, just because you brought it up, and I'm going to call you out too, because when I was trying to do some research on you, admittedly, I'm right there with you guys. It's a little difficult getting into the social, right? Yeah. When you haven't necessarily known that or done that previously. Right?
I think me and Eli are very similar. It's like I'm blessed to have good family. I think we're very similar spirit and energy just by just knowing him for an hour or whatnot. And naturally, I'm very low key. I got my friends, I got my family. I know who I know. I did what I did. Just want to, work, make money, etc. But sometimes life turns you in a different way. Absolutely. There is something beyond you, and you're meant to send a message or to save lives and to help people, age slower and be healthier. I was a personal
trainer. I like that age slower one. Too.
It's a disease, man. It's so something about the universe just kind of brings you to highlight. And I was fortunate enough to get, earn that opportunity, which, that was 4 years ago, man.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Is it just me or this place has got hella testosterone over there?
Right.
Start talking about sports.
Dude, it's oozing. It's oozing, bro.
Yeah. It's about to go down, bro. Right. Did y'all bring that pre-workout or what? Let's get on this. No, man. So I think that's incredible, and I think that backstory is awesome. I think it is. I hate to say it, but it's something that everybody deals with, right? Like in today's society, you're expected to be a personal brand, right? Whatever that brand looks like. People want to be able to Google you and say, oh, this is who this package is. This is who that is, right? And I can, again, right? Yeah. Like I recently just started my own social media. One with the Hustlers Huddle. We've been doing a lot more being active. And it is it's a transition. It definitely is because of you what?
It's tough.
It is, yeah. Especially I think it's our generation. We're a little more private. The younger generation kind of grew up with it. So it's not something that to them that was like just how it is. So long story short, for those people that are a little trepidatious about it, the great thing is you control it. Whatever you put out is what it is. Be cognizant of it. I think, this may be something that we talk about actually later on down the road. It might be beneficial to maybe see if we can go with Hector or somebody else and maybe put together a social media basics kind of some, one-on-one or something like that. Yeah. So interesting. And then the other thing that we were talking about, tell us a little bit about that journey, man. What did that feel like? What was the contest, highs, lows?
It was I really didn't know what to expect. I had never done anything before, and I think that was probably my best advantage. I do have a backstory in sports. I was a highly competitive athlete. PJ and I actually played football together. I remember.
Hey, you couldn't have been that competitive.
No, but I remember. I was a sophomore. I was one of maybe 5 sophomores on a varsity team in the Bremer room. And my locker was right between PJ Toms and Ryan Gerline. Oh, yeah. What? Actually, the owner of Body Armor, CrossFit. He's a good
shout out to my buddy Ryan.
Shout out Rhino. And so actually, he's both a really good friend of PJ and mine. And my athletic journey's been pretty interesting. My first love was soccer.
No kidding.
Believe it or not.
That's awesome, man.
A little bit of a soccer head. I was younger. I was a striker, but as I got taller and bigger, I was a sweep, which you really don't hear of anymore. Sweeper was kind of like
nobody hears about the sweepers anymore, right?
It's kind of outdated.
A center back or whatever
It's actually your last line of defense before your keeper. But yeah, it kind of faded out in the late 90s, man. But
with the different lineups.
Different lineups, different formations, such and such. And then I was born in Oakland, California. A lot of people, I grew up in San Antonio, but I got here for good about the age 10. I'm the short man in my family. My father actually played.
I don't want to be around your family.
Yeah, my right. I'm
They're gonna overshadow me.
On my mom's side, I'm pretty tall, but my dad is 6'9".
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, like, so my dad and all my uncles were extremely high talented basketball players. I was more the 6-footer, 200-pounder, but I was really fast. And so when I moved to Texas, just heard about, I always knew of football, but just kind of, okay, let me try it out. And just one thing led to another. Was blessed to get a full ride scholarship to Texas El Paso.
Nice.
UTEP?
UTEP Miners, UTEP Fighting Miners.
Do you know Brady Vavila by chance?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you really?
Yeah,
that's awesome,
yeah,
man.
that's crazy.
So Coach Vavila was my coach in CYO track, dude, in third grade. Coach, we were talking about high jump.
Yeah.
Coach Vavila pulled me to the side and was like, "You need to do high jump."
Hey, real quick though, you stole that thunder because I was not expecting anybody to answer high jump because I was gonna put KG's daughter on.
Wow.
I didn't know what you were trying to do. I was
like, yo, so how high do you think you can jump?
Chris is all, how high can you jump? I'm like, I mean, I've actually been measured. I won regionals and stuff for that. What are you trying to ask here?
My daughter's a hell of an athlete. She's jumping like 5'4" in the women's division in high school, and I thought that's amazing. I can't imagine jumping that high, or 5'3" or something.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And this school comes and goes, I jumped 6'9".
No, I don't know.
No big deal.
Not 6'9". I jumped 6'4". 6'4" was my height.
That's still high.
But it was good. But like I said, it wasn't people don't realize that. But even at 6'4", you're not going to the next level. I mean, you might go D2, D3, get some jumps or whatever, but you're not going D1. You're not going Olympics or whatever. So
and so I do know Brady. We're teammates.
That's funny, man. That's why when you said UTEP,
we're teammates at UTEP. Won a couple conference rings.
We need to see you.
went to a couple bowl games. We lost both, but hey, at least we got there. Had some good years there and kind of flirted with the Arena League. Nothing too much, but I've had a lot of surgeries between, believe it or not, everything on my right side of my body except for my hip has been. So I've had 4.
I like how the doctor paramedic over here just cringes, goes, "Oh,
that's football, though."
I mean, you can see some of my scars right here. I know they can't see.
Oh yeah,
right there. And so I've had 4 ACLs, 1 scope. Reconstructed shoulder, my labrum, bicep tendon, and my rotator cuff, and foot surgery. So, and it's funny because after football ended, I'm not saving lives, but I got quite a few certifications in personal training. Anything from Pilates to yoga to NASM. I had pretty much every one but CSCS because you need a science degree for that, and I'm political science. But I spent a lot of time in a training room. Physical therapy and working with physical therapists and nurses and whatnot, and I spent 1/3 of my 20s on crutches.
God, that's incredible.
I'll quantify it like that.
Damn.
So spending all that time in physical therapy just led me to a higher knowledge and awareness of how the body moves, and still getting after it. Go to Body Armor, go to Jones for CrossFit, and all those experiences when I got behind the mic, from the locker room standpoint, from the literal huddle standpoint.
You see what we did there?
I like it.
So being from in the locker room, so being in from the locker room, literally the huddle, the pain, the agony, the multiple surgeries, and learning how to walk again, literally, the pressure that Division I athletes have.
Right. Yeah.
And I learned it late, but I'm always for these athletes getting as much money as they can because a lot of people don't think about it. Your body is your corporation.
Oh, right. We're gonna have this is gonna be content for
your body,
that's a whole conversation,
and we'll elaborate on this in future segments. But a lot of people don't think about it. 206 bones in the body, 600 what muscles? 600 approximately.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
620, just call it.
Right.
And all of them need to operate at optimal levels at all times.
Every single,
You know what I mean? So you can be this finely tuned athlete from 6'1" to 6'9", 200, whatever to 300
Hey, bro,
pounds.
6 feet can be a finely tuned athlete too.
No,
Calm down.
Yeah, no, but I choose. No,
enough to block the camera.
but I guess my point is, because athletes come from size like gymnasts on to Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you can have a turf toe. and that
And be
would
done.
Yeah,
Shout out
and then that would
people call you a
that would
bitch if
hold
you
you
have a
back
turf
down.
toe.
Well, you
Yeah.
know,
Like, no,
that
it's
will
not.
cost you millions of dollars. I mean, as a grown man, I'm in sales. I for the most part work for myself, but I can't call our customers like, hey, I got turf toe.
Yeah, straight up. Yo, I'm not gonna make that meeting today.
I'm not gonna make that conference call. I got turf toe.
Straight
I
up.
mean, how many other occupations are like that? Zero. You know what I mean? And especially when it comes to football, I mean, with due respect to all sports and all different types of athletes, it's a collision sport.
100%. I mean, that's
You
what they're there to
know,
do.
it's
They're there
like
for
soccer's
impact.
a contact
Fun, man.
sport. Yeah, basketball is a contact sport. But when you get two grown men, 200 pounds plus,
Yeah.
running at 15 miles an hour at each other,
and plus, dude, like
right?
that's what everybody wants to see. Nobody wants to see a bunch of penalties. Nobody hitting
Right.
each other. So,
But I mean,
you know, that
a
expectation.
30
that
mile
you
an
talk
hour
about.
collision
Yeah,
is a collision.
100%. Whether it's
Is
a car,
where it's
person,
a
it doesn't
car,
matter.
motorcycle, bicycle. When I was working with the Jets, I never in my mind thought someone, I don't want to get too off subject, died in a bicycle accident.
Yeah.
Because these things are just humming. But anyway, as an athlete, you need to be finely tuned at all times. Your eyesight, your vision, your peripheral, like everything about you.
Dar, what do you think about them? You know, people talk about the speed of the game's change and how things nowadays are different. And with all the tech we have now,
Yeah.
like all the shoes, the lighter helmets are like what, 4 pounds lighter now?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you're
I
talking
mean-
about running up 40 and you take 4 pounds off me, I'm gonna be a lot quicker. Than
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's just not. And
And nutritionist comes in over here. He's like,
Oh,
yo,
no,
now you're
man.
speaking my language.
Yeah,
man.
no,
Yeah,
you're right up my alley right now, man.
the equipment is different, but I think it's more functional. To be honest,
Yeah, it's safer,
I'm
you know?
I think it is safer. One of the things that blows my mind is like the pads are smaller. Like I know I always had my knee pads covering my knees.
Yeah, you look at
As
dudes
a-
in the 90s, they were huge.
Yeah, they
I
had the
mean,
whole
shoulder
setup,
pads
yeah.
were massive, and so I always remember covering my knees. But I see D1 football now; they're just wearing like long shorts with some, you know, and it's a
Inserts or
different
whatever.
game.
Yeah.
But with that said, the equipment is more effective because the game is different. You know, I remember back in the day, the more marks you had on your helmet, the better game you had.
I mean,
Yeah.
we
and the
talked about
skulls and the X's and whatever brand or
Stickers,
whatever
whatever, yeah.
mascot you had, you know, and your goal was to get that helmet full.
We talked
You
about this
know-
with both Milgram and Scott Summers about how it's changed, it's shifted, and people used to, yo, I'm gonna go for the head-on collision,
Yeah.
boom, and now we're like, probably wasn't the best idea, you know?
Right.
And then to your point with Milgram, we talked about, he said that the best investment he ever made in himself as a business owner is equipment.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the thing, man, like people kind of discount that. I don't care if you're in sports, if you're an athlete, if you're a business owner, whatever. Equipment is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's going to make you better. Invest in. I ride mountain bikes these days, like for fun. I'll tell you right now, difference between getting on a Huffy and, a $2,500 Giant, like they're not even the same vehicle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it changes your whole
Nothing wrong with
perspective.
Huffy. If you're listening, Huffy, you're cool.
No.
You're on crew.
I had many Huffers.
Right.
Right.
We all did, but a
Yeah.
Huffy is designed for that, right?
Yeah.
Like if
Right.
you're going to take it on the trail and you want to be a high caliber athlete, you get high caliber gear.
Some people get
For
Toyota,
sure.
some get Lexuses.
Yeah, well,
It's
Eli's
nature.
not going to roll into a fire wearing his, third grade raincoat, right? Like
Exactly.
he's got the gear that-
Exactly.
I'm here.
Hey, with the,
It depends on when the tones go
Right.
off. If it's like 3 a.m, he's driving.
Maybe I will.
what's that water hose that grows? The garden expander
Yeah.
hose?
Plastic, baby.
Yeah, here we go. I'm saved the day.
That's fine. Not to cut you off, sorry, man.
No. But I mean, it's your equipment you have is definitely better now than it was 20 years ago. But more than that, I like how the game has changed because really after CTE came out, the chronic, I forget the full medical term, but it's scary, man.
It's essentially a protein that grows on your brain that
yeah. Do you want to
encephalopathy.
elaborate on that?
Traumatic encephalopathy. So
Yeah.
essentially, it's just your brain turns into Swiss cheese.
And
You look at dudes like Aaron
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Remember that dude? Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
said they took a look at his brain and were like,
It was just-
dude, this dude is worse than like 80-year-olds with Alzheimer's.
It was messed
How
up.
old was he when he died?
26, 27.
somewhere
Yeah,
in
he
there.
wasn't 30.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's
He-
incredible.
he-
I think his brain was that
Yeah.
bad.
And not only that, he was I mean, you could say he might have been a bad guy, so I don't know, but he was clearly crazy for a long time before.
Yes.
This. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Sure.
it wasn't a.
And the thing is, when you combine that with men of that size and that much money
Yeah.
and that much freedom,
Yeah.
rarely does that
Lead to
rarely
anything.
does that equation equal something positive.
So
You know, I'm gonna take a to lighten it. I'm gonna take a little part from Chris Rock. Like, has any of us gone to an ATM at 2:30 in the morning? I got out $400 for something positive.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you ain't paying any
No.
bills at 2:30 in the
I don't
morning.
pull money out of that. Like, bro, what are you talking about?
It's like certain
I can neither
steps.
confirm nor deny.
It's like
$13
certain
service
steps
charge.
just
What is that?
don't equal positive outcomes. You know what I mean? And so when you get that type of damage, that type of money, that type of physical strain,
So right.
you know, it's just not going to have a positive outcome. I'm not blessed to have children yet, but I tell my lady, and I love contact sports. And if I had a son, straight up, and maybe this is a lesson to our listeners and watchers, until his balls drop, he's playing rugby.
Oh, rugby.
No,
Why is that?
rugby.
Why is that?
Rugby, because you're not
You took me
spearheading.
for a ride there, so I wasn't.
Because you're spearheading. You know, I'm gonna try to divert my son into a different sport.
Yeah.
But if he's really that type of, like I was, little kamikaze,
Yeah.
little go-getter, and he's 8, 9, 10 years old. Dad, I don't play football. Okay, wait till you're 14. If you really want to roughhouse and whatnot, hey, but learn like an actual sport. Actually, Ryan Gerline introduced me to rugby as a part of
Me
my
too.
knee rehab.
As well.
And it was one of the best things. I learned how to tackle better in the age of the early 2000s. I learned not to hit with my face.
Right,
in my
right.
head.
Which is what you were taught.
And
Everything in football.
It was
right
and
there.
I had to
Look up, get
relearn.
Yeah.
And so when you do a few weeks of rugby, you're going in with your shoulder. You're learning body leverage and footwork. And so I think rugby is a much more progressive way into football. But with that said, you see in the picture here, Coach Jason Washington, one of my best friends, his son Jackson, my godson.
Hey, so I feel like you just glossed over that. Who is Coach Jason?
Coach Jason Washington, he's a corners coach and recruiting coordinator for University of Texas, and
What's UT? I've never heard of it. No,
high school.
Yeah. It's kind of good.
No, I just wanted to make sure you just kind of like, I don't know if you guys know this guy.
No, he's my best friend growing up, and he was my right hand man on the football field. PJ knows him as well, and his son, my godson, and I think we are getting smarter because he's playing extreme flag football. It's where they're fully padded.
100%.
They're fully padded, but it's still flag football.
Yeah.
So the kids still get used to the helmet, the shoulder pads. And so if they do, you're 8, 9 years old, you're still learning,
your fundamentals.
Your fundamentals, your footwork.
Did you play football
But
growing up?
No, basketball and golf.
Basketball and golf? Do you
Yep.
still golf?
I do, but I suck, man.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to put you in touch with Casey Lim.
There you go, Casey Lim.
Get you some lessons.
Right.
But so I think we are getting smarter about it. I still love the game, and these Battery of My experiences really helped me, get as far as I could with Rock the Mic and ESPN, and it's been a lot of fun. I got a lot of stories, but
I like it, man.
that's for another time.
Kind of a controversial opinion that I've heard, and I'd love to get everybody's opinion on this. The idea of athletes making millions and millions of dollars to put their body at risk, kind of is similar to gladiators going into battle. And there's some school of thought that's like, look,
Hey, except
they
gladiators
know
were slaves.
They
so
were
they didn't really
slaves.
get the millions of
they were
dollars.
slaves, and that's
part,
a whole nother argument is who's slaves to what owners and so forth. But I'm not trying to go there. What I'm asking is what's your thoughts on they're making a ton of money. They know what they're going into. You're risking your body. So
Yeah.
why make these extra protective rules for certain people, especially in football? We see it happening a lot now.
I'll let PJ answer that. I'll let PJ speak on his opinion. That I'll go after a couple opinions.
So I think definitely there's a lot at stake, and it's all about investment, risk and reward, right? Like, these guys are putting their lives on the line, and you're right. I mean, you can go in and play a game and not come out of there. You got to take care of your family. You got to take care of the people that got you there. But again, the game is changing. It's definitely changing. I think, look at quarterbacks in the league right now compared to like your Brett Favre's and like stuff like that. Like I mean, Brett's been on publicly and said and talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to let his kids play football.
Right.
He's just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I get that. I understand. But if we figure out ways to use equipment, do things the right way, and maybe build better habits and change what the game a little bit to kind of just protect our investment just a little bit, which is human life, I think is the biggest investment.
Man,
Just a shit stir though, right? In my pot.
Yeah.
Eli, have you ever gotten a $10 million bonus for
Yo,
signing
I
on
was
with the
just
FD?
Yeah,
Well-
but I mean, there's no money in it, so I mean, it's a totally different thing.
well, so
It's not though. I mean, his point was you could literally. He said you can go into a game and not come out. Can you go into a building and not come out?
I got you, but there's no monetary value as far as firefighting goes. Like, there's not a crowd or a people that want to see it. It's just expected.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My answer exactly when you asked that question, that's exactly what I thought. It's not a matter of what we should or shouldn't do to limit their safety. It's a matter of what society places value on. And right now,
For sure.
society places a tremendous amount of value on entertainment, be it WWE, be it NFL, be it whatever the case. Society doesn't think that a doctor on a helicopter, right, who just pulled some kids out of a burning car, house, whatever the case, should get a $10 million bonus for it. That's their job. You went to school, you went to do it, right?
Right.
So it's a matter of what we do. And realistically, also, you're kind of hitting on the point, like, it is how you monetize it. Now, we can go down a whole nother argument and say, yo, that insurance for that ride on that helicopter billed $250,000. How come you don't see a bigger cut? But that's a conversation for
Right.
another day. So
Yeah.
when you
It's the same
talk about
conversation for the team owners that are making these rules to protect their investments, not the players.
Agreed. So when you talk about like there not being money necessarily in there, there's money, man. Let me tell you right now, the healthcare industry is probably the largest gratuitous
For sure.
fund in the nation right now. So the money's there. It's where do we find value and where do we place that value? You know what I mean? Same thing like education and everything else. But again, real dicey conversations for another day.
And and to answer your question, Chris, I'm gonna take a little bit of everyone's, not to sound like I don't want to not be my own original thought.
Hey,
but
to sound like you formulated a well-constructed thought. Yeah, don't sound like that, dude.
But my first response, you already hit on it, Chris, was like, well, no one complains about the rich man signing the check. First of all, they have an endless supply. If say whatever athlete gets injured, someone else is always trying to take his spot. Do you realize you're in a, and my second point is you have a very small time to do this.
Right. Yep.
You have
What's the average NFL player?
A
Like
very,
6, 7
very,
years?
very small
Like that,
window.
if that,
Maybe
I
even
remember.
smaller than
And
that.
so I commend these athletes because I've got the taste of it. I never made millions of dollars. I wish I would have hit the injury-free lottery. Like I
Right.
said, your body's your corporation. And a lot of these gentlemen and women in certain sports, you have that short window. And if they allow you legally to make 7 figures on up on your body for however many years, you got that window. You better strike while the iron's hot. Because think about it another way. If, Chris, you have children,
Correct.
right? So say if you have a son and daughter, right?
Both, yeah, son and daughter.
So say I don't even know what your son's just interested in, but say he's a amazing drummer,
right.
right? Just
Which he is.
just
consequently.
no,
I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying.
Like, what?
Say if he was an amazing.
How did you know that?
Well, just say he was a really talented pianist,
Right.
right? And they wanted him to
Oh,
go. They wanted him to go to Juilliard, and that's his natural gift, right? So as an athlete, but you can play piano forever.
No,
You know what I
get
mean?
what you're saying completely.
You have a longer
you
window.
You have
at
to
that. Because your body's your corporation. You need to cash in. When
you got to capitalize.
You got to
while you can.
capitalize while you can. It's a young person's opportunity. So I'm always for the athlete because it's not sustainable.
But it's not even
You
just
know.
athletes either, because you can make this same exact, take this position
Right.
on any number of entertainment, right? You look
Yeah.
at actors, you look at models, you look at, you could argue that their window is limited. It's not as physically limited as that. So I get that.
That's
point.
what I'm saying.
But no, and I guess what I'm trying to say is like nobody should blame somebody for trying to capitalize on their
Right.
on their body, on
On
their
their
ability,
talents.
on whatever their
Yeah.
talent is. especially in a workplace where there's clearly a market for it. Like if there weren't a market for it, that'd be different.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I do have some surgeon friends. They insure their hands.
Yeah, for sure.
Correct. Yep.
If J-Lo can insure her ass for $20 million,
Yes. Yep. 100%.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
So first off,
I
I'm
got
gonna
you.
say that by me bringing this in, it was not my opinion. It might be. I don't know. I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
But I'm not against the athletes.
It's a great dialogue, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's straight up like I think Chris is now on the nail on the head. And it's hitting the nail on whatever. And the fact that it's all about what brings in money. And the fact is, firefighters aren't bringing in money on the show.
Right.
They're bringing
Taxpayer
in
dollars.
taxpayer dollars, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas entertainers are bringing in that money.
Right.
And so they're making more money. But the question that I hear a lot of is why should they complain when their body breaks down?
Well, no, they shouldn't. I was going to lead me to my third point. You got to know what you sign up for.
Right. Yep.
You got to know what you sign up for.
Sure.
Just like Eli is a fireman. It's like, oh, there's a fire. I didn't know it was good. Oh, there's someone's having a heart attack. I didn't know I was ready for this. You know what I mean? Like when I was a Marine. Oh, I'm going to get shot at. Yeah. No shit, you're going to get shot at. You know what you sign up for. That's why, again, to my second point, it's a short window. Man, I'm going to be a little bruised up for about 6 years of my life, but my goal is to make whatever money. The best conversation I had was LeVar Arrington, former Penn State linebacker, right? And I got to, he's the stud of the running and lifting group. And he came in, everyone's doing it was our jumping day. So we're doing vertical, broad jump, I think the 3-cone drill, Anyway, Lamar comes in there strolling late. He looked halfway hungover. He had his sweats on.
So he looks like me.
Yeah, no, but it was he does not look like you. He's like LeVar Arrington.
Be real, bro. Be real.
And so he's 6'4", 6'4", 6'5", all 255 pounds on him, and he goes to coach, man, I don't really feel like jumping. I don't feel like lifting this and this. And they had the vertical jump then, and the coach is like halfway joking, was like, well, I'll let you leave if you could touch the ceiling, and which was about another good 7 to 8 inches above the vertical jump meter. Man, he stretched for about 5 minutes, took off his sweats, said, all right, I'm out. Damn. I guess my point is, after that, I had a conversation with him. He told me straight up, he looked me in my eye, he goes, man, I'm on a 6 to 8 year plan. I'm trying to make 50 to 60 million, and I'm out.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he had a plan. He's like, I want to be a good player. He was all pro. He wasn't worried about Hall of Fame and stats.
Which that's going to change. That's going to change.
Saying, Chris,
and he goes, I want to win. He goes, I want to win, and I want to make money. My goal is to get to this by this is my rookie contract, and I want this for my second contract, and I'm out. And that's exactly what you did. Exactly what he did. And if you look him up now, he has so many businesses. He made that 50 to 65
whatever,
million,
and then made it work for him.
And then I'm going to make my money work for me.
Well, but
that's
your
my
point,
biggest
and I
advice
think what you're talking about,
athletes.
That's going to change the dynamic of the entire business of the NFL.
Yeah.
These players are now, I don't want to go down this because this Antonio Brown conversation could go into a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But you look at what he quote unquote tweeted about, I'm not playing for the NFL anymore. He's not the only player that has that sentiment, right? Like people are looking at it from I'm not in any way trying to give this guy credence.
Oh, Antonio Brown?
Right.
Are we going there?
No, we're not.
Teams and then says I'm not playing for the NFL. No, you're not allowed.
They offer him a deal tomorrow.
Signed up for an English class.
Guaranteed.
Right. I'm being silly, but I'm being serious. TJ, could you put up PJ? Could you pull up Antonio Brown, Vontaze Burfict hit? This happened 3 years ago. I was revisiting because I remember watching this game.
How do you spell Vontaze Burfict?
Vontez Burfict.
Burfict.
Yeah, and so
what are we looking at?
Vontaze. So this is the hit, in my opinion. What I'm getting to,
you think this changed him?
I think Antonio Brown may have something going on, man.
I mean,
because ever since this point,
well, I mean, dude, you look
he's not. Burfict, Burfi. Yeah, there you go.
Does that not?
And I remember watching this game. And here, just watch it real quick. And it was a legal hit. Right. Wait till it's only about 45 seconds long.
Look at, he's almost posturing.
But look at this in slow mo.
So hold on, I want to get a little play-by-play from the paramedic. So what are you looking at when you see this?
Just how his body responds. You know, when you get stiff like that, I mean, that's obviously not good. That's what you call posturing.
And so, by the book, it was a legal hit. He hit him with the shoulder pad.
Yeah.
It was not his helmet, but it was shoulder pad to helmet. But the unfortunate way he got hit and how he fell, it's just, and I just watched this a week ago, and I'm like, good Lord.
Well, dude, you look at everything that's been on, and it's like
Here it go,
does
right
he
here.
not have the symptoms of
Here it goes,
somebody
right
with
here.
some kind of issues. You know what I mean? Look at that.
Oh.
You just see how his body falls.
Yeah.
He's never the same after that.
Well,
And that's good, PJ.
Oh yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
He's out.
I got
Look right here.
But watch him at the end. After
So
he's all the way
forward
down.
and backwards, he hit the helmet of the guy in the. And so this is.
I'm curious to hear Eli though on this because he's saying, you know, you're watching the body.
Oh, I'm saying you watch at the end when he stiffens up because he's real loose right now, but then you see at the end when he's actually totally flat on his back and he starts to kind of stiffen up.
Right.
I mean, that's not a good
That's
thing.
prime example
Yeah.
why I'm for these young men getting his. And I hope Antonio Brown is as well as can be, but if there was some way while in a non-cadaver state to, examine
That's the only
someone
way you can examine
that's
CT.
the only way you can examine it. You need to be in a cadaver state. So
Yeah.
Hey, so Eli, have
It's-
you heard of anything on that? Like in terms of breakthroughs or
On what?
because exactly what Dario is saying.
Brain.
You can only find out about that CTE after they die.
Well, dude, I mean, the thing with that is you only get one brain. It's not like you're
It's-
replenishing that really. There's not much you can do about that.
Because you can replenish what?
Yeah.
Your liver, there's organs that do
your
replenish,
liver
right?
kind of acts as a self filter. I mean, you can do some things to help clean it out, but as far as your brain goes, when that gets rattled, it's very. I mean, there's not much you can do about
Still
that.
permanent.
You know.
and that's why, just kind of back on track. It's a collision
Sport,
fucking
100%.
sport, man. It's
100%. Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna go get in a car wreck for 3 hours
God, dude.
over and over again.
Again, the people pay for that. It's like NASCAR. People don't watch them to drive circles. People watch them to crash.
And it's so funny because
You're right. That's a weird analogy, but you're right. People watch the wreck.
Chris, what I do like, I like how you said entertainment.
Mhm.
You didn't say sports entertainment because for some reason, kind of maybe just like on your buddy that does the algorithms, we are emotionally invested in sports.
100%. Yeah.
That's
Emotionally
what I'm saying.
invested.
How many memories
Like-
do you have tied to sports?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
no one gives a damn if Harrison Ford doesn't save the day in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was a good movie, but
Hey,
we don't get
not no
we
one,
don't-
bro.
we-
I mean, some of us do. I'm just kidding.
we don't get emotionally invested in movies.
Yeah.
Somewhat music, but
I
not,
also
not like sports.
I read
And that's the catalyst.
There's not an actor who has a gang named after him like in sports.
100%. But also, if
Correct.
you think about it too, as humans, right? And like now we're going down all kinds of paths, but we've evolved out of fighting combat for the most part.
Yeah.
We've evolved out of having to hunt. We've evolved out of a lot of ways that the competitions that we would even do for something as simple as marriage, right? Like it would be based around a sport or games. The Olympics literally came as a way to prove who was the greatest among them, right?
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily do that in our day-to-day life. So I think that's why we place so much existential, investment in sports, if you will, and sports figures and athletes. It's a way for us to live vicariously, right?
So if you want to get a mate, win the Olympics, or become a firefighter, is what I'm hearing.
Wait, what?
Right?
Okay.
No, man. So
okay.
It's like, whatever.
Okay.
So, but think about this though. From youth sports, high school sports, college sports, NFL sports, how many brawls do you see at a 5-year-old soccer game? People throw blows over that.
Yeah,
that's
we are
crazy.
so emotionally invested.
Super
in
invested.
sports.
Yeah, and not even on a
At
professional.
all
Our
levels.
kids.
Entire
It doesn't
families
matter.
like it.
Yeah.
Here's kind of a weird fact about that. If Chris and I were to get in a fist fight in the streets for nothing, it's a Class B misdemeanor.
You're
If
arrested.
you do it at a sporting event, it's a Class A. It's automatically because you're doing it.
That's
at
not a weird
it's
fact. That's good.
one
People
step
shouldn't be
higher,
fighting at
you know?
family places at 5-year-old soccer
It's
games.
ridiculous.
That shows that it's
I
happening
mean,
more.
I'll fight
there
sometimes
than
randomly in the
anywhere
street.
else.
Yeah. It's, I mean, the nature of competition is always going to be there. but I put this on my social media, on my Facebook page. Is like, when you win, act like a gentleman. When you
I
lose,
saw that. That was a really good statement.
when you win, act like a gentleman. When you lose, act like a man.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's like,
You know what I mean? So you win some, you lose some, and it's just people just need to especially in the youth league, chill the fuck out. Like, no scholarships are getting won that day.
Not only that, it's about foundational development for the kids. It's not about taking it up.
Exactly. And so I hope football is here to stay. I like how they're refining it and making
rebranding it.
Yeah. And just I think the way it's moving is very positive. But especially these young men playing football, man, they just got to realize, even as early as high school, your body's a corporation, man. Like 100%. You need to take care of it. I know you get the alpha males out there, adrenaline rush, but it's like,
we don't know anything about that.
Yeah, man. If it's my son, he's playing rugby.
Right. Yeah.
So,
he's playing rugby.
To tie it all together, if you want to take care of your corporation, you need corporations like Cryofit. Right.
Recovery is huge. 100%. Don't put an emphasis on it.
Yeah.
That's kind of it's like almost new, which is crazy. You know what I mean? But people are like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So if I'm an up and coming athlete or high school athlete, can teenagers do this safely?
Yeah, man. We don't have an age limit. It's height limit.
What is your youngest?
She's 8.
Okay.
Our oldest, I think, is like 84, somewhere in there.
You mean your near youngest?
Our near
youngest. You're fighting against aging. 84 is just
our
a
near
number.
youngest.
Yeah.
So if we want to come up and see you at Cryofit TBC, again, help remind us how to get in contact with you.
Just look us up on our website, mycryofit.com.
Mycryofit.com.
Instagram, cryofit.tpc. We're off TPC Parkway, Bulverde Road, just across the street from Johnson High School. And that's it.
And so you got a masseuse there every Tuesday. Do you have any other special
partners or services
that visit once a week? Or
so we always do pop-ups with people. Like one of our locations has stem cell doctors that come in and actually
that's cool. That's huge right now.
Inject stem cells. So we're
you guys are like
we're legit.
There's
stuff we're getting into right now that I can't really talk about.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are really chasing a new technology.
No, for sure. It's not cookie cutter stuff.
What would you say is there? Because a lot of people say, you do Cryofit? I never have. I'm just kind of old school guy. I get it iced up. But what type of frequency would you recommend for someone who's a little more active like me, or someone who's just now working out for the first time in 6 months or 6 years? What's a good backstory?
So I always tell people it's your body's going to tell you, for one. It's subjective to you, your activity level. Acute injuries, I try to get people in at least 3 times in 1 week, just so we can knock out that inflammation. We do a lot of work with, different physical therapies and stuff like that. We take out the inflammation, then they could actually start to manipulate the joints so people can start getting back on their feet. But for maintenance, man, I got people that come every single day because everybody's got a different reason.
Really?
We got people with arthritis. We got people that want energy. We got people that just want the calorie burn.
So I was just going to ask, you mentioned arthritis. Okay. My father-in-law just got through with chemo, and he's dealing with a lot of inflammation.
Yeah.
Is this specific to like an athletic kind of recovery, or do you recommend it for anybody with inflammation, somebody maybe outside of even that realm?
Yeah, we got anybody from, like I said, all realms, arthritis to athletes. I do high dose vitamin C drips on patients with cancer to help that out.
So what about anyone like I said, I'm completely ignorant on cryotherapy. So say if someone has like a high blood pressure or heart disease, pregnant women. I mean, does it affect they should or should they not do it for our women watchers and listeners? Or
so that's very cool. We got a pretty detailed consent form. We've done a lot of research on it.
Right.
If you got a history of high blood pressure, we try to take a look at that. We'll do your vital signs, make sure your blood pressure is not 180 or above, anywhere in that range. Anybody with recent blood clots, things like that, then we try to keep them out of there. But other than that, it's pretty safe.
It's pretty open. So cancer survivors,
what's going to happen if you go out in the cold? Are you going to die?
Yeah,
right.
So,
okay.
Well, and I would imagine, I don't assume it's probably a requirement of your franchisor or franchisee, I forget the relationship, to be in the medical industry. But people coming to your franchise would have the added benefit and value that they're not just dealing with somebody
Totally.
who bought it.
Real
They're
good
actually
point,
dealing with
Yeah.
a medic, a paramedic, somebody who understands
sure.
exactly what you're talking about here.
Yeah, I like that because a lot of people, I mean, it's a new thing, so people try to start pop-ups. No discredit.
No discredit
I
at all.
think
but
anybody that starts anything in the wellness health, I like it because it just brings more people
More awareness
to
to
that
it.
realm.
Absolutely.
But I do take pride in the fact that all of us are very educated.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's a key
Yeah.
separator. I would imagine
Yeah.
is if I'm looking to go
Absolutely.
see somebody, I want somebody who knows exactly what they're talking about, has that
100%.
background, and to your point, is not maybe just somebody that saw a great idea and a great investment, and, bought into it. It is obviously a great investment, but hey, having that medical background certainly doesn't hurt.
Absolutely.
Nice, man. So
Yeah.
I love that we had these heroes on today, man.
I was just
Straight
gonna
up,
say
I know that you're
Yeah.
both of y'all are gonna downplay it, but seriously, thank you both for what you do.
100%.
No, thank you
Yeah.
guys. Thank you for what you do.
and quite frankly, probably the continued services that you guys will continue to provide.
Absolutely.
So, we appreciate that. We're looking forward to continuing on. You guys see Dario regularly. He's going to
Yeah.
be joining us, so I'm glad we got to introduce him today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Eli, I'm going to tell you the same thing that we tell all our guests.
man.
It's been a pleasure. Anytime you want
Thank
to pop
you guys.
back
I
in, man.
appreciate it.
Anytime you want to update us with your latest and greatest, do not hesitate. That's what this is about. It is, after all, Chris, what the networking podcast show about?
You and you and
And
I can't reach it.
Yeah.
Let me point the camera.
You.
You.
Hey,
That
so
was
with
super
that,
cheesy, but
oh no, go ahead.
that's all I had. It was cheesy.
Hey, people already knew that, bro. You didn't have to say it. No, I'm just kidding. Yo, but with that being said, guys, PJ, do you have any final thoughts?
Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Dario, final
Hey.
thoughts?
Man, hey, Hustlers Huddle.
Heck yeah, I like it.
I like it.
Eli,
That's it.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
you
It was
guys
fun.
keep the hustle. We'll see you next week in the huddle.
See you
And
next-
until then,
See you next time.
have a great one. Thanks, guys. Hustlers Huddle.
I'm on top, I'm on the move. I'm on top, check out the view. I'm on top, see how we do. I'm on top, I'm gonna get you feeling cool. Time to get up on the bus. I'm about to take your butt to school.